Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you a brilliant game played by the legend, the 8th world chess champion Mikhail Tal. His opponent is German chess grandmaster Klaus Viktor Darga, though I have to tell you that Darga would earn his grandmaster title only 4 years later in 1964. Meanwhile, this game was played in 1960 in Hamburg during the match played between the teams of Federal Republic of Germany and Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. I have to tell you that this was the first public appearance of Mikhail Tal after his victory in the World Championship match against Mikhail Botvinnik. After a break from chess of 2.5 months, the new world chess champion showed himself to be in a brilliant form, gaining 7.5 points from 8 games. But before starting our game, make sure that you are subscribed in order not to miss my future uploads. In this game, Mikhail Tal was playing with the white pieces and he opened up with e4. Darga responded with Sicilian defense c5, knight f3 e6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, knight c3, and d6. Black is setting up the Scheveningen setup. Here is how Mikhail Tal commands his opponent's decision. This is a small reference from Mikhail Tal's book, The Life and Games of Mikhail Tal. I think that the choice of this line was made mainly on psychological grounds. At the Candidates tournament in Yugoslavia, Darga was Olafsson's second and no doubt observed that in the Tal-Smyslov game from the 22nd round, white played uncertainly when faced with the Scheveningen variation. Taking into account the fact that the Scheveningen variation is not an altogether frequent guest in the games of my opponent, I decided to play a quiet, relatively rare played continuation, thus ruling out any type of prepared variation. In here Tal played g3, thus choosing the Fianchetto variation, a6 bishop g2, queen c7, white castles kingside, bishop e7, f4, knight c6, and after the exchange of knights on c6, Tal went for e5 move. He is trying to open up the position as soon as possible, relying on the fact that black king is stuck in the center of the board, is attacking black knight and is opening up his light squared bishop's diagonal, though I have to tell you that still black king is in safety. D takes e5 by Darga, f takes e5 and knight d7. Of course, you can't capture on e5 because of this bishop takes c6 check. That's why after f takes e5 we have knight d7, bishop f4, black castles kingside, knight e4 and bishop b7. Well, if a move like knight takes e5, then after queen d4, f6, bishop takes e5, f takes c5 and the exchange of rooks on f8, white can play queen c4, and despite the fact that black has a bishop pair, black has too many pawn islands which are potential weaknesses. That's why in our game after knight e4, black proceeded with the development and played bishop b7. Now comes queen h5 and g6, which seems to be a strange move because with this move black is weakening his dark squares too much. Well, black could simply play rook d8. And I have to tell you that at this point, knight f6 check is not playable because this g1 a6 diagonal is vulnerable, and in the line which can arise after knight f6 check, black can actually move away his queen from c7, where it was under attack by announcing a check, and then can capture on f6. But in our game after queen h5 we have g6. Here Tal moved back his queen on e2, c5 and knight f6 check, and after bishop takes f6, e takes f6, Tal is getting a powerful wedge on f6 square, and now all the time black has to be careful because his dark squares around his king are weakened. e5 by Darga, bishop takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop takes b7 and rook b8, which is a mistake and is allowing white to gain advantage. Instead it was better to capture on b7. And now if queen takes e5, then rook e8. Queen f4 is not dangerous because of this rook e2 move. In return, white king is also vulnerable and black can rely on that fact. If rook f2, then after the exchange of rooks on f2, queen takes b2, black is actually doing great, no problem at all. but probably Darga failed to calculate up to the end, and instead after bishop takes b7, he played this cautious rook b8 move, and as I've already mentioned, this is allowing white to gain advantage. Here we have bishop d5, and after rook b6, here comes the rook e1, knight d7, and white queen penetrates the 7th rank. Rook takes b2, black is busy with grabbing pawns, and in return, Tal is landing the first heavy punch. In here, the magician from Riga found a beautiful move, and he put his knight on e6, relying on the vulnerability of the 7th rank. By playing rook e6, Tal is threatening rook d6, intensifying the pin. Black played rook b8, the rook is hurrying on d8 square to cover the d7 square, but now anyways we have rook d6 move, rook d8, and after this simple rook d1 move, Darga resigned. Right now the threat is bishop f3, and black is losing a piece. It's important to keep the bishop on the long diagonal, not allowing any unpleasant checks, and yes guys, black is losing a piece. Let's just make a random move. If h5, then bishop f3, and there is no way out. Black is losing a piece. That's why I have to tell you that Darga's resignation on move 27 was well timed. In the end, let's also solve a chess puzzle where the task is to find the mating line for black. There is a checkmate in 3, and I will wait for your answer in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.